This is Calm AF, a podcast for humans who are hard on themselves. A podcast for the overthinkers, people pleasers, perfectionists, and overachievers. I'm Kristen Finch, and I'm going to teach you how to quiet that incessant negative chatter in your head. Because you know what a person with a calm mind can do? Anything they want. Grab your coffee, gorgeous soul, because today's the day you get Calm AF. Hello, gorgeous soul. Welcome back to Calm AF. I am excited to share today's message with you. It was actually inspired by a quote that I recently heard. Now, because of my ADHD, I can't tell you where I heard it or when or who said it. My brain doesn't like to hold on to those details. But I did look it up and I found out who originally said it, and it was Confucius. So this quote has been around a long time. Maybe you've heard it before, but it's new to me and it inspired today's message. I thought about it so much after I heard it. So here's the quote. We have two lives, and the second one begins when we realize we only have one. I'm going to say it again. We have two lives. The second life begins when we realize we only have one life. It's so good, right? And you totally know what this quote means, right? Like you get what this quote means because we've all had moments in our life where we're like, oh man, those little things that I've been thinking about, they really don't matter. Life is precious, right? You think about it every time someone dies unexpectedly. Or every time you hear a story about a person who's been given like a terminal diagnosis or had a close call with death. And they're like, you know what? Now I'm going to spend the rest of my life living my life, traveling the world, doing all the things that I haven't done yet, right? We know what this quote means. And it's what we do, right? Like we just live this life where we're sludging through, putting all of our time and energy and worrying about things that at the end of the life, you know, aren't going to matter. Like we know this at a conscious level. And so you go through the motions on autopilot until you have some sort of wake-up call reminding you what really matters so that you can start your second life, right? And I really think about the second life. Like the first part of your life feels like autopilot, and then your second life feels like alive. It's when you feel alive while you're alive. That thing that we all really are striving for, but we think we have to wait for something to happen. And that's really what I want to talk about, right? Like, what are we waiting for? Why are we waiting for something big to happen for us to start our second life, the life that we feel alive in, the life that we know we're meant to be living, the one that we feel present in, the one that we feel connected to our people in, the one that we spend our time doing the things that really are aligned with our values and our priorities. What the fuck are we waiting for? So today, that's what I want to share with you. I just started jotting down, like, what do I see over and over are the things that people think they have to wait for. So I just want to jump in, okay? Today I'm going to share with you the biggest lies we're believing that are keeping us from reclaiming our lives, right? These are the things that we think we have to wait for in order to have permission to begin our second life, okay? So here's the first one. You're waiting for a wake-up call. You think there needs to be some big dramatic reason for you to say enough. Like it's not just enough that you feel exhausted and resentful and like you're an empty shell of the person you used to be. It's not enough that you've shrunken yourself down to this little palatable version of yourself that doesn't feel at all like you. That's not enough. You think you have to wait for a wake-up call, right? Because that's essentially saying, I can only prioritize my life if there's no other option. I am only worthy of making this change if the alternative is death. And I know that sounds dramatic, but do you know how many people I have talked to that have told me, I wish I would just have a nervous breakdown. I wish I would just end up in the hospital because they think there has to be some huge change, some wake-up call for them to be able to step into their second life, waiting to wake up and change their life to create the life that they feel alive in, right? So that's the first thing I hear a lot. They're waiting for a wake-up call. The second one I thought of, you're waiting for permission. Okay. You want to sign this Kristen has permission to live her second life, and you want all the people in your life to sign that permission slip. You want everybody like, yes, I agree. You have my permission. You have my permission to start setting boundaries. You have my permission to start putting yourself first, right? And for some of us, that's not even enough. It's not even enough that people give us permission. We think people need to want us to want to change our lives. We want people to be super supporters. Like, oh my God, finally. Oh my God, I've been waiting for this day. I've been waiting for the day that you decide you're finally going to put your life first and your needs ahead of mine and the kids. And oh my gosh, it's the best. I've been waiting for this to happen. You not only have my full approval, but I think it's the best thing that you've ever decided. We think that, I've had people tell me my husband's on board. He's not excited about it. I was like, who cares? Why do you need him to be excited about it? It's your life. So that's another thing. You are waiting for permission. The next one I hear a lot is that you are waiting for more time. You're like, okay, so I want to change my life. I want to start the second life, but I know that means I'm going to need time, right? I'm going to need time to focus on myself. I'm going to need all this time in my calendar. So let me look. Where on my calendar can I squeeze in getting my life back? I'll probably need a week or two where nothing's on the calendar because I can't have any distractions while I'm getting my life back. I'm going to need a nice, clear, open space. Nobody else can have anything going on because I'm going to need to be there for them. So, gosh, when is it going to be that no one in my life needs me and I don't need anything and there's nothing on my calendar for at least 2 weeks? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Waiting for more time, waiting to have more space in your life is like waiting for the waiting for the earth to stop spinning. You're just going to have to create the time. You're not going to be able to find the time. The next one, you are waiting until you feel ready, AKA you're waiting until you feel no doubts, right? A lot of people are like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready to do this work. You know what? Maybe I should just wait until I'm a little bit more miserable. Maybe if I wait until I literally can't get out of bed anymore, then I'll feel like I'm ready. Nope. The next thing, you are waiting until you won't inconvenience anyone. So you're like, okay, so if I do this, if I start setting boundaries, there's people that are going to be inconvenienced. There's going to be people who have to hear me say no to them. And there's people who just need me right now. So maybe when my kids are a little older and they're not so needy, or maybe when my daughter isn't struggling with anxiety anymore, maybe when my husband changes, or when my dad isn't sick anymore, or when my friend gets through this rough divorce she's going through, maybe then it won't inconvenience them. I won't have to say no to them in order to say yes to me. Sound familiar? And the last one that I thought of was that you are waiting for the perfect time, which is kind of like a combo of all of them, right? You're like, okay, well, I definitely want to start my second life, but I'm going to do it when the calendar is clear, when all my people have signed the permission slip, when I need more money. I can't just do this without having money. When I've got the stamp of approval that no one is going to be mad at me. When life decides it's going to pause and nothing else is going to show up so I can commit to this new second life and I don't have to feel guilty about putting anyone on, then that's when I will be ready. That's when I can do it. I'm going to wait until then. Okay? There's more. There's lots of other reasons why we do this, why we think we have to wait to start our next life, to start the life where we feel alive. But when you think about what I just said, how many of those things are going to happen? Tell me when the stars are going to align like this. when life is just going to clear a space for you and say like, oh, look at that. It's time to take my life back. When is that going to happen? Honestly. Actually, a better question to ask is, has it happened yet? How long have you been waiting to start your second life? How long have you been waiting for permission? How long have you been waiting for the right time? How long have you been waiting until you feel ready or until everyone else is on board? Right? How many years have you been waiting for a break in life so that you can say, my turn? And how many more years are you willing to wait? Here's the truth that I have learned from years of coaching women to take their lives back. Do not wait for the wake-up call. I have had this happen with clients. They got the wake-up call. It will come and you will not feel good about it. You wait for the wake-up call, you are desperately going to want to go back and tell your younger self not to wait one more second, but it'll be too late. I know that sounds really like shitty and I know it does, but I have seen it happen several times. And I promise you, you don't want to feel that feeling. Here's the other thing I know is that people aren't going to give you permission, but it's not their job to give you permission. It's your job. When you've been consistently the person who is responsible for everything and everyone, and then you decide you aren't going to do that anymore, people aren't going to necessarily be excited about it. Okay? They might be like, that seems inconvenient for me, but that's okay. It's your life. Right? You are going to have to do this without other people's permission, without other people agreeing that it's even the right thing for you. It's your life and your decision. There will never be a right time. There will always, always, always be something that needs to be taken care of, a problem that needs to be addressed, someone that needs your help. Waiting for life to slow down is like waiting for the world to stop turning. It's not going to happen. There is never a better time than right now. And in the same vein, you will probably never feel ready. Your brain is going to want to feel 100% confident, but will continue to bring you doubts and confusion and potential problems. Confidence is not required to start. Confidence will build after you start. And you are going to inconvenience people, okay? That is part of taking your life back and starting your second life, feeling alive again. When you stop saying yes to everyone else constantly, that means that people are going to be hearing no from you. When people depend on you to take care of all of their needs and you stop doing that, they are going to be inconvenienced. Okay? And I promise you, it is for their benefit. They have no opportunity to figure shit out on their own if you are constantly doing it for them. Okay, so these are all the reasons, right? All of the reasons why you're waiting to take your life back, you will be waiting forever. None of those things you've been waiting for have happened, and it doesn't look too promising in the future. There is just no good reason to wait to live your second life. The time is now. So the first step is always just to simply decide. It's like my first step of everything. First, you have to just decide. Decide that you're not going to be confused about it anymore. You're just going to decide, today is the day I'm taking my life back. Today is day one of my second life. Okay? You just decide. And then you don't argue with yourself about it. You don't question it. You've been questioning it. It's time to stop. Once you've decided that you're done waiting, step 2 is you got to find a real strong why. A really strong reason for why you are doing this now. Because it's going to be uncomfortable. Okay? It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel awkward. People are going to be upset. You are going to want to go right back to your people-pleasing and perfectionist and overthinking ways, right? So you have to know deep in your bones why you're doing it. Why are you willing to feel uncomfortable? Why does your life matter? What are the benefits, not just for you, but for everyone around you, of you taking your life back? One of my most powerful whys is that I am doing this so that I can show my kids how to live, right? They're watching me. Your kids are watching you. My daughter is learning how to be a woman from me. My son is learning how to treat women from me. I do not want Emily, when she is freaking 45 years old, to be having to unlearn beliefs that she learned from me. I have to put everyone else first. I have to wait until there's more time. I can just be resentful and inconvenienced while I'm waiting. I do not want to show her that being a woman or a mom means putting your life on the back burner because her needs are less important. I do not want her to have to unlearn these dang beliefs because I taught them to her. I want to show her what it looks like to love both your people and yourself. Loving other people does not have to come at the expense of you. I always say I would die for my kids, but not if I don't have to. I will, but I don't want to. Do you see that while waiting to choose yourself isn't necessarily dying, it's also not living? So that's what I want you to do. Find your very powerful why, so that when you start taking actions and your brain starts freaking out, you can just go back to your why, because I matter, because I'm breaking toxic generational patterns, because my people pleasing and energy managing is creating more of what I don't want, because it's making my life smaller, and because I don't want to have to wait for a wake-up call. I love you so much. I am so excited for you to get your life back and to stop waiting. I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening. And before you go, one more thing. So as you know, I am slightly obsessed with helping as many humans tap into their calm AFness as possible. So if this podcast has helped you, would you please leave a review, make sure you're subscribed, and share it with your friends. Also, make sure you head on over to KristenFinch.com to see how you can work with me. You can sign up for my emails and get any other goodies I have available. Until next week, I love you so much. I am so grateful that you're here. I'll see you next time.